we've been working with Vote Run Lead and Women Winning for a while to interview some of the amazing women that have been elected to politics here in the Twin Cities. What we also know is it's much harder to do that in greater Minnesota. So part of today's discussion is related to, and as we go forward in the coming years, how are we going to celebrate some of the women that are trying to reach office with more diversity?
Anin, Zugipun Indigenous Cause, Maingan Indundame. My name is Nevada Littlewolf, and my family is the Wolf Clan. I am a citizen of Leech Lake Nation, and before I begin, I just want to acknowledge that we are on the traditional, ancestral, and contemporary lands of the Dakota people, as I hail from northern Minnesota as an Anishinaabe Kwe. So Women Winning, we are a Minnesota-based organization. We only work in Minnesota, and we are working to encourage, promote, support, and elect pro-choice women to all levels of public office. So anything from park board all the way up to the presidency, we are working with women to make sure that their voices are heard at every level of government. So why does this matter? One of my mentors and friends was Paul Wellstone, and I think we know this quote from him that says, "When we all do better, we all do better." What I like to say, and I think Paul would be okay with me saying this, is that when women do better, we all do better. And this is really the mantra that I work under, because I think we all know in this room that when pro-choice women are in the seats of leadership, they're really making decisions, thinking first about the health and well-being of individuals, families, and our community as a whole. We heard earlier from our justice about that vision for the future. When we have a future that actually has reproductive justice, we know that we will be able to raise our children in safe and healthy environments. We will also be able to make those decisions to whether we are going to have children or not have children, and have options for that. Why the other reason it matters, especially right now, is that we are under attack. Reproductive rights are facing these unprecedented levels across the nation, anything from the abortion bans, including the medical options, travel bans, IVF, we're losing that in states across the nation. And this is really all about, I think, controlling women and controlling reproduction. And from 2002 to 2006, the number of women elected rose somewhere between 28% and 36%, but then it flatlined. So in 2018, after that kind of flatline, very little change, the number of women elected in Minnesota suddenly increased significantly. I think we can probably understand why that would have happened. In 2022, women represented 38% of those elected to federal and state offices combined in Minnesota. Minnesota is one of 11 states to have gender parity or greater in their federal delegations, and that happened in 2023. And then following the 2018 election, 5 out of the 10 members of our Minnesota federal delegation, which includes both congresspeople and senators, Ilhan Omar, Betty McCollum, Angie Craig, both of our U.S. Senate seats have been held by women. And so these are our priority races this year. Women Winning, the way that we do our work is that we offer a program called PLOT, Political Leaders of Tomorrow, and we are training sort of the next generation of political professionals. Being from rural northern Minnesota, I now live here in Minneapolis, but I just have a really great and deep respect for greater Minnesota and the work that needs to happen there around electing women to public office. So for 22 years, we know that the metro districts have had a greater representation, a greater share of candidates and elected officials. Here's our priority races for the House this year. These are some additional ones. However, fewer women are running for rural county commission seats. What I will tell you about the county commission seats is that they are incredibly important to our state. They control billions of dollars. They are the ones who are making decisions about health and human services. So a lot of the policy decisions that we heard earlier today, those are really there's a big impact in county government and having county commissioners who understand the issues that intersect for women. For the mayor's seats in cities with a population of 10,000 or more, the numbers are not as great. So 2015, we saw 40% of those cities, and in 2022, 32% of cities had a woman for a mayor. And you might think that the city size would correlate with gender parity for the mayor's seats, the highest elected seat in a city, but a mere 18% of 100 largest cities in Minnesota have achieved gender parity. And we know this, Minneapolis and St. Paul are not among these cities. Miigwech, thank you.
Been a longtime friend of Nevada. She was a city councilor in the city of Virginia when I was a city councilor in the city of Eveleth, about 6 miles away. So it's great to be in this work together for a long time. So I'm Beth Peterson. I'm the Senior State Director for Vote Run Lead, and we are a national nonprofit working to help women and gender expansive individuals run for office and win. We have targeted Minnesota, and that's how I can do this work, for a special initiative. So while we are a national nonprofit, we began at the kitchen table of Liz Johnson on the shores of Lake Superior in Duluth some years ago. But we are here, and we just expanded to 7 more states: Washington, Oregon, Arizona, New Mexico, Michigan. We're in Georgia, and we have some what we call maintenance states that are already at a women's majority. That research shows that women lawmakers pass more legislation, bring more resources home to their constituencies, and are more active advocates for their entire community needs. What that boils down to is that women, we just govern better, right? So we just do it better, right? Because we are trying to build a movement. What Nevada shared about more women running for office at those lower levels and how we're accelerating that. We want to take that power and move it up to legislation that really works for our communities. So what does representation look like in the state legislature in Minnesota? Right now, 38% of state legislators are female, are women or non-binary. And you can kind of see where they sit in the House and in the Senate, very oriented towards larger cities. Well, we have 19 House seats that went to Republicans under 10 points. And we have 26 House seats that went to Democrats under 10 points. So those are districts that we should really be putting a lot of energy in, a lot of power in, a lot of money. Put your money out there. Because we only need 15 seats for gender parity at the legislature. That we have 21 competitive districts. So 15% of the seats, 10 more than the national average, are competitive, are at play for us to really shift that control. So right now, the DFL has control of the House, and that is by 6 seats. And I'm talking about the House because this year is a House election year. All of those seats are open. And 15, we only need 15 of those seats to reach gender parity. So we're out in those districts that you see on this map, having conversations with who is there. We're pre-endorsement, we're at those endorsing conventions, who is coming forward. We are a values-based organization, so we're anti-racist, we're democracy, pro-democracy and democracy reform-minded. We are intersectional feminists. So we really are looking for women that align with our values. We want a reflective democracy. We've heard a lot today about this is my lived experience. We want people who are making the policy that have those same lived experiences as us. The third, because what we see in Minnesota is that when women run, they win at the same rate as men, almost completely 50-50. The other concern is that women who are incumbents in office, they retire sooner than men do, only by a year and a half, but that's still a year and a half of power that we're giving away, that men are like, yeah, I'm gonna stay here. I think I'll make some more decisions. So ask your friends, your mothers, your sisters, your cousins, people that you know, ask them to run for office because we can be there in the next 10 years. We're out having trainings around confidence. If it's an issue that you're concerned about something in your past, those men have something in their past and they still run, right? Just like, We've seen that on the national level, but I won't go there. They have stuff in their present, and they still run. You can contact us. You know, I'm Beth Peterson. My coworker is Kate.